Shalom. I want to start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect who are continuing to fight and teach this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Manatazak with GMS Ancient of Days in Los Angeles, currently teaching with the Akim in Sherman Oaks. And today, through the Spirit, I want to get into a lesson going into the recent rumors that Trump wants to secede from NATO. Okay, now, for those of you that are in the know, this is a very major move, especially concerning prophecy, because we know, pursuant to prophecy, that the allied nations that are aligned to America, or Babylon the Great, are eventually going to turn against them. Okay, now Trump succeeding from NATO is a very pivotal move, because the North Atlantic Treaty Organization is comprised of various countries that are joined in unison with one another, with America being the juggernaut of all these different countries and governments. Okay, when it comes to military, when it comes to world influence, okay. And with all that being said, it's a wonder that Trump will make such a bold statement, considering out of all these conglomerate of nations that are allied together, America is the only one of them that has the most amount of debt. Okay, I mean, I believe if you combine all the countries' debt that's aligned with NATO, America eclipses them by billions and trillions of dollars. Okay, and that debt continues to accumulate even as we speak. But with that being said, I just want to get into a recent article and bring out some precepts showing you that we are indeed in the time of prophecy. We are indeed in the time of the feet mingled with iron and miry clay, as Daniel seen in his vision, meaning we are that much closer to the return of Yahweh Shai. So with that being said, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect, and I'm going to begin in this article. So Baba Kushah, bear with me. This is an article from Newsweek by a fact-check reporter named Tom Norton, and this was dated February 17th, 2025. So this was dated yesterday. Okay, because I'm currently recording this video on the 18th. So this is a relatively new article. Okay, it says President Donald Trump's administration left European leaders reeling last week, prompting unattributed rumors that he was considering withdrawing the United States from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. Okay, the militaristic pact that has bound the U.S. and Europe since 1949. Okay, now this is major, because for those of you in the know, NATO was originally formed as a united pact to combat the USSR, or the Soviet Union, which has since disbanded. But under Putin, he's trying to reclaim these territories, beginning with that pivotal site of the Ukraine. And what's so important about the land of the Ukraine is that it borders allied nations of NATO and Russia. Okay, so if the Ukraine were to join NATO, okay, they would basically have missiles pointed in the backyard of Russia. And likewise, if Russia was to claim NATO under their sovereignty, they would have missiles pointing at allied nations, which they already are. But it goes to show you why that front in Ukraine is so important and why that war is still waging on today. Okay. The article continues. Confirmed talks in Saudi Arabia between Russia and U.S. officials, alongside comments made by Vice President J.D. Vance to the Munich Security Conference, have stirred worries that the U.S. relationship with Europe may weaken as Washington pursues a more nationalist agenda. So under Trump, who's only been sworn into office less than a month, because he was sworn in January 20th. It's not even February 20th. And already there's rumors that the U.S. is pursuing a nationalist agenda. Okay, now by definition, what makes that so pivotal is when you go into the definition of a nationalist, it reads a person who strongly identifies with their own nation and vigorously supports its interests, especially to the exclusion or detriment of the interests of other nations. So Donald Trump is basically trying to become an emperor, with America being his own sovereign nation. Okay, to succeed from NATO is basically saying that you don't need their support, you don't need their military. Okay, he's basically saying that America is strong enough to stand on their own. Okay, and that's very dangerous talks considering the times that we're in. Okay, but it's beautiful for us in the spirit, because we know, pursuing the prophecy, that it eventually has to get to a point where these allied nations are going to turn their own missiles on Babylon and shoot them. Okay, we have yet to see what's going to cause that to occur. Okay, but that's why I'm reporting on this Newsweek article. Okay, because it's showing the breadcrumbs that are eventually going to lead to that prophecy being fulfilled. Okay, these are some very exciting times. And Trump, with his draconian laws, is stirring up a lot of enemies, even amongst his own quote-unquote so-called allies. All right. The article continues. The Saudi talks, which U.S. officials have confirmed Europe will not be a part of, have worried Euro leaders. So here it is. Trump is talking to so-called enemy nations behind allied nations' backs. And he's even excluding them from sitting in those meetings. And that can incite talks of collusion, conspiracy, the type of things that you don't want allied nations to be suspect of, especially in a time of war. Okay? The article continues. Before being elected to a second term as president in 2024, Trump indicated a potentially frostier future with European powers, meaning he's trying to ice them out. Okay? That's very bold talk. It says, driven by a disparity across the alliance on military spending. So this is all stemming from Trump wanting to bolster more money into the defense of America. Okay, we're already a country that's trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. And it's already been confirmed that Trump wants to build an iron dome, likened to the one in Israel, across all of Babylon. Okay? Why would you want to spend all this money on a defense system, okay, if we're supposed to be in talks of peace, when we're supposed to be in a ceasefire? He's doing that because he knows the implications of the things that he's implying on these nations, the different executive orders, the different tariffs. He anticipates America being attacked, which is why he's trying to put money into a defense budget to build an iron dome across America. But we know, pursuing the prophecy, that even if he does succeed in doing it, Babylon is still destined to be destroyed. Okay? Continuing on. It says, at a rally in South Carolina in February 2024, Trump said he told NATO summit discussions that the U.S. would not protect NATO allies if they did not increase their defense spending. And that's very bold talk. Okay? You're basically saying that to your own allies, that if you don't uphold your end of the bargain and put the money that we agreed to towards our defense, in the event that you're attacked, we, America, being the strongest military in the NATO alliance, is not going to stand up and help you. Okay? And that's going against the legislation that the U.S. signed to be a part of NATO. And the article goes on to explain it. Trump said, everybody's got to pay. They said, well, if we don't pay, are you still going to protect us? Trump said, absolutely not. And they couldn't believe the answer. The article continues. NATO's charter states, if a NATO nation is invaded, then all other members, including the U.S., are obligated to treat the invasion as if it were an attack on themselves. But this is what Trump went on to say. Trump went on to suggest that he would encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want if it attacked another NATO ally that hadn't met spending commitments. That's talks of treason right there. You're basically giving enemy nations the go-ahead to attack allied nations, okay, if they don't participate in the defense budget of the U.S. Talk about being a bully. These are the words from the president himself. And these are some very strong words that's definitely going to rub these other nations and their leaders the wrong way. Okay, and Trump is already unpopular amongst the allied nations. So we're in some very serious times through the Spirit. So that was the end of the article. I want to get some precepts just to tie this all together and show you how important the times that we're living in are. Because these other groups out here aren't reporting on the prophecies and on the things going on with the government and across the world. That's why we here at Great Millstone liken ourselves to the true watchmen, because we are literally watching all news outlets, all social media, okay, all what do they call it, TikToks and YouTubes and Instagrams, filtering everything that we hear through the prophecies, through the scriptures. Alternative media, right? This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 11, beginning at verse 38. It says, "Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts, which I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them?" This is speaking of the new Roman Empire. Okay, basically talking about America, the time that we're in now. It says, "And the 4th came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit." Okay, and this is speaking about America and the way they rule with that iron hammer. Okay, they're going around trying to police the earth and bully the earth. Got all these different sanctuary all across the globe, emissaries all across the globe in every country. He was given the fatness of the earth, that he being Esau Edom, and he's definitely living up to that prophecy. Okay, let's get the book of Daniel. The book of Daniel, chapter 2, because I mentioned the prophecy of the statue, and that's very important to the times that we're in now, because it's showing you how close we are to this society, this kingdom being brought down low. This is Daniel chapter 2. Okay, and I want to get verse 33. Going into the dream of the statue, it says, "His legs of iron and his feet part of miry clay." Okay, and that's the part we're in now in prophecy. Okay, it says, "Thou sawest till a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them in pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors." So all these great kingdoms of the past, okay, as it mentioned, okay, the gold, the silver, the bronze, the iron, and then the clay and iron is speaking about the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Grecian Empire, the Roman Empire, and the revised Roman Empire. All those kingdoms, when they're broken down by that stone carved without hands, which is the second coming of Yahushua, he's going to tear these kingdoms down, and they're going to be swept away as if they never existed. Okay, all these quote-unquote mighty kingdoms are going to be brought down low, and the kingdom of heaven under Yahweh Shem Yahshai is going to be established to rule the world in righteousness. And this is the times that we're living in now. Continuing on in verse 35, it says, "And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth." So this great government of righteousness is going to fill the whole earth, where the law, statutes, and commandments are going to reign supreme under a sovereign nation of righteous Israelites. Okay, with the law, statutes, and commandments put in their inward parts. Okay, a kingdom like never before. All right, and this is the times that we're in now. I want to jump to verse 41. Okay, it says, "And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. So that strength of iron is speaking about the U.S. and its military. Okay, but these other nations, they're not all together. They're not all in unison. So iron and clay doesn't mingle, just as water and oil doesn't mingle. And this is the state of NATO right now, NATO and the EU. Verse 42, it says, and as the toes of the feet were part iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And that's beginning now with the hopeful elect standing upon their watch. That's why in Revelations 12, it says that great fear fell upon them that saw us, because these higher elites, these higher luminaries, these elite bankers, they know the truth of the scriptures, and they know which prophecies to look for that's going to signal their inevitable downfall, which is why they're scared to make a move now, because they know who the prophets are. They see us on these street corners. They're watching our videos. They're taking notes. They have dossiers on all of us that are listening and watching and teaching. It's only a matter of time before they make their move. But the Lord already has them checkmated. Because as the scriptures prophesy, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord is going to lift up a standard against them. He's going to give his men spiritual power to supplement whatever Esau Edom comes down with us on. And we are living in these times now, as the scripture just said, in the days of these kings, these different kings of the NATO and EU, even Babylon the Great, the cruel Lord, Nero, Donald Trump, who's coming down with his draconian laws and measures. These are the times that we're in now through the Spirit. Okay. Verse 44 again, it says, and in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all the kingdoms, and it shall stand for forever. Okay, and these are the times that we're in now, where we're hastening the coming of Yahushua and the kingdom that he's going to set up. All right. Let's get Revelation 17, beginning at verse 16. Revelation 17, which is a chapter that's going into Babylon the Great. But I want to go into Revelation 17, verses 16 to 18. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, they shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Okay, so this is America, speaking about America and how they're going to be betrayed by the different allies that they were once joined onto. Okay, it says, for the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, going into Babylon the Great, that great whore. Okay, so this is going into the prophecy of the victory of the Lamb, which we are living in the time of, where Yahushua is going to collect the crowns of these kings. Okay, so these are some very important times, which is why I brought out through the Spirit that article, because this is exactly what the prophecy is speaking about. These nations eventually turning against Babylon. Okay, and it seems as if Donald Trump is going to be that one to help fulfill that prophecy. Let's get Jeremiah 50, another prophetic chapter, the book of Jeremiah, which speaks about a prophecy against Babylon. Okay, and that can be likened unto Babylon the Great. This is Jeremiah 50, verse 9. It says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Now, this is speaking primarily of Russia, the north country, but these other nations are going to point their arrows, their missiles at Babylon and shoot them as well. Okay, we are in the time of this very prophecy. Jumping down to verse 14, it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. allied nations and enemy nations alike. All ye that bend the bow, all ye that have the ICBM missiles, the hypersonic missiles, the nuclear missiles, point them at Babylon and shoot. Okay? Shoot at her. Spare no arrow, for she hath sinned against the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Jumping down to verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth, America, right, cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Okay, this is a prophecy that's going to take place. This is why we focus so heavily on prophecy, because we can see the signs of the times. We are measuring the time diligently in of itself, and we're watching these prophecies play out right before our very eyes, and we're reporting on them through the Spirit. Okay, so although they're still allied nations, eventually it's going to come to a point where they're going to turn against Babylon, and we can see the makings of that right now. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. I want to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And peace and salutations to the hopeful elect who are continuing to fight and teach this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. This has been your brother Manatazak. Until the next lesson, Shalom.